In the Grand Chamber of the United Nations, where world leaders usually read carefully drafted speeches written by committees, one man chose a different path. His name, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young president of Burkina Faso. The UN had summoned him not to debate, not to negotiate, but to apologize. 2 months earlier, Traoré had delivered a fiery address that condemned Israel's assault on Gaza, exposed France's interference in Africa, and declared that African silence in the face of oppression was complicity. His words spread like wildfire across the continent. But in New York, Paris, and Washington, the reaction was very different. They saw his voice not as truth, but as a threat. Behind closed doors, the UN drafted a 12-page clarification speech. On those pages were paragraphs of surrender, polite regrets, careful apologies, and reminders of shared values. They told him, "Read this, President Traoré. Don't resist. Partnerships depend on it. Aid depends on it. Survival depends on it." But Traoré was not chosen by his people to be silent. He was not sent to New York to bow before old powers. He was sent to speak for a continent tired of kneeling. So when the moment arrived when he stood before the assembly, he did not carry their script. Instead, he carried his own. His first words cut through the chamber like thunder. "Before you ask me to apologize, let me ask you this. How many times have you apologized for what you've done to Africa? Did Belgium ever apologize for the Congo? Did France ever apologize for Algeria? Did Israel ever apologize for training militias that destabilized our land? Silence. Delegates shifted in their seats. Cameras zoomed in. This was not the script they expected. Traoré went further. He accused the West of exporting war while preaching peace, of delivering debt while calling it aid, of demanding African silence while justifying their own violence. The French delegates stood up and stormed out. Others lowered their heads, avoiding his gaze. But Traoré wasn't finished. He pulled out his phone and read a message from a Burkina schoolgirl. "Mr. President, please don't let them make you small. We are proud to be African." Traoré looked up from the phone and declared, "That child has more dignity than this entire assembly." The chamber froze. No applause, no interruptions, just stunned silence. And then came his final blow. "I will apologize for one thing. I apologize that it took this long for an African leader to stand here and speak without fear. But I will not apologize for defending Gaza. I will not apologize for rejecting occupation disguised as diplomacy, and I will never apologize for being African and proud." The speech ended, but the shockwaves had just begun. Within hours, African ambassadors gathered to draft what became known as the New York Declaration, a pledge that no African nation would apologize for sovereignty or accept aid tied to submission. Across the continent, students, workers, and activists replayed his words. Murals went up. Songs were written. A movement was born. The UN had demanded an apology. Instead, Traoré gave them a reckoning. His refusal transformed a moment of pressure into a turning point of pride. And as headlines spread, Burkina Faso's president defies the UN. Traoré refuses to kneel. One thing became clear. What the world witnessed that day was more than a speech. It was Africa unchained, a voice unbought, and a declaration that dignity will never be negotiated.